This was how the world circled round itself, curly as a pubic hair, plucked and flung wayward on whatever wind happened by as the breeches were tugged down, and coolness prickled forever hidden places, as hidden as the other side of the moon, aye, and life spun out of control again and yet again, even as scenes repeated themselves, ghastly and uncanny. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I am your host Liam, aka Hembar, and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Steven Erikson's The Lees of Laughter's End. Lees of Laughter's End is a 2007 novella and third in the Bauchelain and Korbal Broach series, though it actually takes place in between the first two, Blood Follows and The Healthy Dead. In fact, the fourth and following book, The Worms of Blairmouth, also takes place before The Healthy Dead and after this one. This follows the trio of Bauchelain and Korbal Broach, with Emancipar Reese, of course, added. They had just left Lamentable Mole, and they're on board the ship the Sun Curl. The crew, in part, at least the leadership maybe of the crew, doesn't seem very capable as sailors. And this is a very interesting story. But anyways, we have some things here, like Durhane plays very much, I feel like at one point, like as a commentary on cannabis. Blood wine also acts as a sexual stimulant of sorts, like blood oil of the Templar. There's rape here. It's comical, like in The Sadness of the Executioner by Fritz Leiber, and while not being overly detailed, absurd descriptions are very much in the range of adult, no question. And then the Laughter's End itself is a promontory, apparently of note, though it is kind of just something they go by. Laughter's End is seen as the elder god of the sea's hands, male, right? But the problem comes from the nails actually sold to the crew for repairs in Blood Follows. For these nails were taken from barrows in the city of Lamentable Mole, and as you can expect, something supernatural occurs because of this. This reads very much like an Ed Greenwood sequence of like short story or novella rather. It has an insane amount of characters for such a short book. I actually do wish we focused more on the main players rather than every single player for the very short sections. I preferred the first two of the series over this one, largely because I found this one harder to get into because of all the switching narrative. Now, we did have the narrative switching in the other one, but it seemed more focused and less sporadic. This one, I feel like, it adds to the comic effect, but it just didn't help as far as like the reader experience went, I felt like. Now, there is very much horror here, and it's very absurd and macabre. It's almost like Clark Ashton Smith, mixed maybe with Peake or Moorcock even. It's ironic and full of panic and hysterics even. There are three characters named Briv at one point, so right, you can kind of get this comic idea. It's definitely sword and sorcery though. In one moment felt particularly Lovecraftian even, and that was probably on purpose, if I were to guess. But I really like how Erikson uses a sort of lightotes. He describes profound or funny events straight, without exposition, that hint to how the reader should feel, and that I feel like helps you actually get into the story. Personally, I feel like a lot of readers might not like that. A lot of readers, I feel like the help and the aid. But if you're used to Erikson, you're probably used to this as well, because he does it in Malazan Book of the Fallen. So I feel like if you want to try something really comic and really absurd, and short and to the point in sword and sorcery, maybe try this one out, but I would start with Blood Follows for sure. Anyways, this has been Liam from Liam's Lyceum. I will catch you next time.